Hey guys, Ramsey here. Welcome to another live stream. So today, I actually have the privilege of being able to live stream during the day because it's a federal holiday here in the United States. It is MLK Day, Martin Luther King Day, and so the banks and the market, all that stuff is closed today. So normally I would be working at 2:43 in the afternoon, but I can live stream. And every time now I go to do a video, which I was just going to upload a video, that was my plan. I'm like, why would I do a video when the people love the live stream so much and the interaction is so amazing? So instead of just clicking play and recording a video by myself, I just click play on the live stream and we can get some interaction, and I can still kind of talk about the, topics that I was hoping to cover. So yesterday, if you follow the channel, and most of you here probably do, I reviewed this, or maybe early impressioned this, you could say, and it is the new zoologist, and it's called Harvest Mouse, for those of you who can read. And as you can see, the mouse has this 1930s Great Depression. It was midnight yesterday, so I might have said 1920s Depression era, but it does still kind of remind me of a 20s working man with his little bow tie. And I figured we're doing this year in Perfume ranked video. Why not rank the decade of the 1930s? And so, because that's where we are. We're on the 1930s. I already did a video ranking the 1920s, and I actually have a correction to make. So I made a mistake on my 1920s video, and let's see if I can try to correct that mistake here. All right, so I made a mistake in the 1920s video, and I said that this fragrance right here, which is a Lanvin, sorry for the fragrance leak, but this little bad boy right here, Lanvin Arpege Extrait. I said that this was a Chypre when I did my 1920s ranked videos. How cool is this little presentation with the little boats on the side to hold it in so it doesn't go anywhere. And one of my prized possessions right here. I love this stuff. It's probably one of the best floral fragrances I've ever smelled. And you have to consider this an aldehydic floral. I had said it's a Chypre, and I think the reason my brain just kind of defaulted to Chypre is because it's so complex in the base. It feels like it would be a Chypre DNA. But as far as the first couple hours, pure aldehydic floral, I would take this over number 5 any day of the week. I might even take this over number 22 because I said I like number 22 more than number 5. There's just something about Lanvin Arpege, especially this Extrait version, which is out of this world. It's so complex, so deep. The ingredients smell so natural and rich and just from another time. It's unbelievable. I have no clue how old this bottle is. It was sealed when I got it. I literally had to break that gold seal right there to get to the juice. And on the back of the inside of the printer, the inside of the printing label right here, it actually says on the back, interestingly enough, it says label print. If that shows you how old it is, that sketch right there says label print, like they're proud of the fact that it actually is printed on there. But yeah, so I do have to make that correction. It's not a Chypre, it's an aldehydic floral. Someone called me out, and they are exactly right. And so that was from my 1920s video. And so correction made. Now that we're going to do the 1930s. So let's say hi to everybody, and then drop your scent of the day in the chat as usual. And then we'll start knocking out some 1930s fragrances. Mitch, welcome, my friend. Thanks for being here. Hope you're doing well. Greetings, DJ. Dev, welcome. I hope you didn't use that Symphonium sample. Did you take my advice and throw it away? Let's see how good you are at listening. Evening, Brad. Nikki, welcome, my friend. Cheers. Sergey, I don't think I've seen you in the chats before. Welcome to the channel. Natalia, you're back. Come share your expedition with us. Tell us all about your glory and how you conquered faraway lands. Hola, Scott. Thanks for being here. Hey, Dushan, welcome. Good evening from Serbia, indeed, my friend. Yes, Ugar, welcome. Hi, everybody. I did indeed, Dre. You do not listen. You know what? You just don't listen. That is a privilege of young boys and men, I guess. But pretty soon, we'll get you to listen, Dev. We will get you to listen. Only slight regrets. I had some serious regrets about wearing that Symphonium sample. Oh my God, it's so. You smell like a clockwork orange. You smell like one of those oranges that you hit and all the chocolate pieces fall apart. Ugh. Pause your live M-Wash. Pause your M-Wash countdown to catch this live. What a time to be alive. Yes, welcome. Welcome, Sergey. Scent of the Night, L'Artisan Mon Numero 10 Vintage. Beautiful. I think I have a bottle of that. And that actually is a beautiful fragrance. Very few. That's one of those Bertrand Duchefforts that very few people talk about. Hey, Kid Kentucky, welcome. Scent of the Day, M-Wash Opus 6. That's a beauty. That is a beauty, M-Wash. I think it's supposed to be Pierre Negrin and Alberto Morias's creation of what a fragrance that smells like oud without using any oud is like. I am in my PJs, my ELO PJs. It's not a work day today, so yes. New York Intense, beautiful. I love New York Intense. I think it's my favorite Parfums Nikolai, although I need to smell more. I need to smell Queer Cuba and some of those others. Evening, Dimitri, welcome. Eau de Hermes, beautiful. I love how you guys are always rocking the good stuff. Vetiver Parfum, Testing Africa Olifant. What do you think of it? I think I'm going to blind buy that soon, MJ. Is it worth a blind buy? I just bought modern Ted Lapidus Poem for 20 euros. Steel. 100% steel. Honestly, I've got a comparison video on the channel between the modern, which has the built-in sprayer, and the vintage, which is a splash, which they don't make these splashes anymore. This came from the Anuge warehouse, I believe, if memory serves, and I got a couple of them. These old splashes, these 50 mils. And I did a comparison video between the two. You can go check it out if you haven't watched it, Dushan. But honestly, I mean, even though there are some differences, for 20 bucks, double the juice, I might just go modern. I don't know how. I have no clue. I mean, it's one of the great mysteries of life. How does Ted Lapidus, at $20, keep this going with IFRA regulations and all that stuff? And cost of materials and reformulations. How do they do it? What is their secret? Do they have a pact with the devil? How does Ted Lapidus and Jacques Bogart, keep things going when all these other houses struggle with reformulations? I don't understand it. Hey, Ajay, welcome. You guys like the live streams? I'm still torn because there is a chap, a fellow. I won't call him out, but if you look through the comments, you'll be able to see it. He keeps saying my videos are too long. He was saying that when I was doing like hour-long videos. So yesterday he left me a comment and he was like, Ramsey, going from an hour video to a 3-hour live stream is not going in the right direction, my friend. He's like, you've got great content, but it's way too long for me to consume. I'm like, put me on 2 times speed, buddy. MJ is AO Animalic or 2 Animalic. Hey, Rachel, welcome. Good to see you. Yes, Rachel in the house. I wore her Darren Allen Sheeper #1 yesterday that she very kindly sent me a 10 ml Discovery Atomizer, and it's good. I don't know if I would buy a bottle good, but I'm going to enjoy it. I'll do a review on it before the juice is all gone. Hola, Stan. Welcome. Francesca Bianchi, Tiger. Never smelled that one, Ajay. I do have some more Francesca Bianchis to do a video on that I haven't done yet. I can't remember which ones they are, but I think I have 1 or 2 more that someone sent me that I can still talk some more about her stuff. But honestly, after Gonzalo pretty much just nailed her with the whole she overdoses whatever that accord is that gives it, you know, that Francesca Bianchi Orris butter DNA, and I think he's spot on. It kind of, once I saw that and I agreed with him, it kind of deflated any excitement over testing more of her new stuff that I haven't smelled yet. To me, it's too much, but might be for some. Oh, I'll probably love it then. I bought it even cheaper. I think it's $10. I know, it's crazy. I have no clue. It's one of the great mysteries of life. Ah, Cabochard. Which version, Nikki? Because I've got the what do I have? I've got the Eau de Toilette. Is the vintage Eau de Parfum worth getting, do you think? Or are they, is this all good? What's your read on Cabochard? Because I love this stuff. I just don't know if I also need the Eau de Parfum. No scent of the day yet. Blasphemy, Rachel. Let's say Silver Mountain Water. It's Sillage Armaf. I heard it was a good, I mean, I know people give those Armaf clones a hard time, and rightly so. But as far as like the smell goes, price quality ratio, they're probably 90%. And for the extra 10%, is it worth paying $400 more to Creed? I don't know. Chavignon for Men EDT. It came this morning. Is that this one? This must not be it. This is Chavignon Heritage. This is a good fragrance too. If you ever see this for cheap, grab it. I think it's discontinued. I guess Chavignon makes some respectable fragrances. Chris from Scentland kind of hyped that one up for a little bit. Chavignon Heritage. Whoops, I guess I can't spell. Chavignon, C-H-E-V. No, it's still available. And it's being marketed by Bogart Group. Speaking of Jacques Bogart and Ted Lapidus, so apparently Chavignon is in that group of companies. Interesting. I didn't realize that, or if I did, I forgot about it. This is this very weird, dry, woody, irisy, fresh fragrance that can easily be worn all year, even in the heat. But it's no one talks about it. I think Chris from Scentland is like one of the only big reviewers to ever talk about it, but it's good. I mean, if Chris talks good about something, I don't mess around. He says move and I move. I hate splash. You know, they have grown on me ever since I really learned how to decant them and stuff, but I hear you. It's definitely more of a pain. Trying too hard to be animalic goody, but it's just ugly chemical mess. Okay, appreciate that, Ugar. I'll take it into consideration. I still want to try it. I know Ram for that Ted Lapidus comparison video. I'm a great admirer of your work. Thank you. Thank you, Dushan. Very kind of you, my friend. Hey, Ringo, welcome. Some people need to up their weight class. I think Bianchi is trash. Also, she has limited edition coming out on Friday. Really? She just released one, right? Musk something. Some sort of musk fragrance. Now she has another limited edition. I'm not a big fan of hers, to be honest with you. If I'm going to go with a niche of that kind, I think I would go Papillon. I'd rather give my money to the very talented Liz Moore's. 3-hour stream, right direction. Let's get it to 4. That's right. One day I'll do like a 24-hour stream for you guys. We'll just be passing out here together. Jubilation 25, beautiful. You guys are rocking some bangers. Yep, I know. Usually it's Dushan saying Jubilation 25. Hello, Shiva. Welcome, my friend. Erwan, good to see you. I have your... I've got your samples right here, by the way. So I'm just kind of waiting to go to the post office. So I'll drop those off soon. We're going to get Shiva introduced to some of these amouages that he hasn't smelled. So I included some Mitzman, some Cial Man, some Dia Man, some Epic Man, some Fate Man, some Interlude Man, some Figment Man, just a bunch of stuff he hasn't smelled, a bunch of amouages. So he's in for a treat because there's some good stuff in there. What else? There was another one, I think, too. Was it Bracken? It was either Bracken or Sunshine. It might have been Sunshine, but there's more stuff I put in there, Shiva. I think it was like 10. I think it was like 10 fragrances or something. It's a 19 reformulation. From what I read, they really try to do a good job, and from what I smell, it's beautiful. Okay, so you're another one that's agreed that, yeah, the modern formulation is very good. Kind of in the SAE. Okay, good to know, Dimitri. Scent of the day, Balenciaga Fleeting Moment Parfum. Which oh, it's the EDP. Okay. Hola, germs. Ah, moods. Moods Womo, or moods for women, because I hear some people really like the woman's version. Sorry to hear that, Shiva. Well, hopefully the fragrance hypes you up. It always does me good. Any general thoughts on the brand Fragrance Du Bois? Yeah, I do. Fuck Fragrance Du Bois. Sorry, Arn. Sorry to curse. I haven't seen you here. I usually have better manners than that, but Fragrance Du Bois brings out the worst in me. I did a live sniffing escapade where I took some samples that were sent to me very kindly by our good friend Armando, friend of the channel, and he included Fragrance Du Bois called Heritage. Speaking of Heritage, we talked about Heritage yesterday. It was on the #1 spot on our Amber Fougere list, and now we have another Chavignon Heritage, and now we're talking about Fragrance Du Bois Heritage. It was one of the worst fragrances I've ever smelled, ever in my life. And when I found that they sell it for $500 or $600, my head nearly just fell off of my body. It was go watch my blind sniffing. It's the I think it's the final blind sniffing. I think there's 4 of them. I think it's episode 4. And it's the first fragrance I put on because it was on my left wrist where I usually start. I'll go left wrist, left inner elbow, right inner elbow. And I was just like, oh my God, this is shit. Come to find out, it was Fragrance Du Bois Heritage, like a $600 fragrance. And I was like, so yes. Really? So Bois de Ceci is on my list for sure. Absolutely, for sure. Maybe I'll go that route instead of Africa Olifant. Ah, 92, 94 release. Very nice. Kind of similar to Hyrax, but not as high quality. It comes across extremely plasticky. Interesting. Okay. Well, I already have a 10 ml of Hyrax, so if that's true, I won't go for it. I'm always in a good mood, Natalia. I don't need a reason to be happy. I'm just generally a happy guy. No, nothing particular. Just loving life, the usual. Avoiding studying for my CFP. I'd rather be with you guys. Please hate splash bottles. Make it cheaper for us. I ordered Oud Maximus from your recommendation. Bornikov sent me Symphony Neroli. Get with them. Get with them. I hear they have good customer service from what I've heard. So tell his people to get with your people, HMBT, and they'll make it right, I bet you. Sorry to hear that, though. I've never even heard of Symphony Neroli. The Etruscan water smelled like severely watered down Bijan Man with her signature musks. Blah. Yeah, I'm with you. You don't like that Chypre? I have but 2 Bianchis. I like the house because of that price range. It is true. $100 for 30 ml or whatever it is nice, but I don't think she's worth it. I'd rather wear modern Bijan Man too. Absolutely. The old school Interlude. I did not send you any Interlude, I don't think. I think since you already had 53, I think I sent you Mitts. I sent you Mitts, CL, Dia Man, Epic Man, maybe Epic Woman, I can't remember. Imitation Man, Figment Man, Journey Man, and either Bracken or Sunshine. I can't remember. One of those from that collection you said you'd never smelled. Good evening. Welcome. Yeah, they are a little bit different. I'd take Bijan Man over. I'd take either Bijan Man, vintage or modern, to be honest with you. Ah, I know you love Interlude, Shiva. Yes, it's well, it's Monday. It's not. You said that's your Sunday scent, but sometimes you got to wear something that'll pick you up. For my wearing of some pollen, I have to say, while I agree the price is ludicrous, something like Daniel Gallagher, Behold, Patchouli is way better. It's not horrible for me. Well, you're young yet, Dev. That sweetness makes me want to Earl. I'm a modern man. Yes, exactly. You're a modern man. I'm a Neanderthal. Take me back to the 70s and 80s, damn it. I was so hyped about that Enclave trailer clip by Amouage. I'm telling you, man. Those I did a recent blind sniffing on Amouage's new 4 fragrances. If you guys haven't seen it, every single one of them is not worth it. And to my opinion, it's not. It's not Amouage. You know, what they need to do is take those 4 and just make one fragrance. Make one, or go back to what they used to do. Make a men's and a woman's, and just put more time into it. You know, why do we need 4 new fragrances at once? You know, they are a meme brand. Yep. I mean, hell, I'd take Parfum de Marly over Fragrance du Bois, to be honest with you. London Oud does contain oud, has me in tears. Which is that from Fragrance du Bois? Their website was the worst thing I've ever read, too, by the way. On that blind sniffing episode, I tried to read the website. The English was wrong. The spelling was wrong. Just all kind of basic mistakes that you would think, dude, you're charging someone $600 for a bottle. You can't even spell basic words correctly. So Initio, Parfum de Marly. Yes, that's right. Well, I know Initio and Parfum de Marly are, but is Fragrance du Bois is BDK also the same company? I didn't know that. I did not know BDK is the same. That does make sense, though. Nice. I don't know if it backs the same company, but they're just as soulless. Yeah, I know what you mean. Is that a fougere? Would you consider that an amber fougere, Steph's? You know, there were actually a bunch of them that people said I missed. Someone came back and said that, yeah, I guess it technically is an amber fougere. You're right. You're right. You're right. I could go back and do a second video of the ones that I missed. Like, I made some notes here. Here's the ones I forgot to show yesterday. Bois du Portugal, Coty's Preferred Stock, Bowling Green, 1725, Mem by Bogway, Sartorial, Le Barber de Tangier, B612, and now you could say Santos. So yeah, that could be a whole video in and of itself right there. So, nice. I hear great things about it, Shiva. I ordered Bortnikov's from Max Aroma. Yeah, Max Aroma is actually a great site for me because I don't pay sales tax because they're in New York. So I like that. That extra 30, 40, 50 bucks is nice. That extra savings. Avoiding stream, I can appreciate that. And it's a holiday. That's right. Avoiding studying. Although I've been avoiding studying for so long, it's all going to just hit me in the face when I go to take that test. But I don't care. You tried the fragrance Neanderthal. I've heard of it. Is that the one that comes in that rock, that arrowhead-looking bottle? No, I've never tried it. Bad clone of Jubilation Man 2 with New York intense, but Siberian Rose from the House is very good in my opinion. But yeah, I can easily understand your complaint. Hate the house. Hate them. Yes, I had to get I-53 because Overture and Balance were my first 2 niche fragrances. I U-turned back to Bloomingdale's once I sniffed my sample of Interlude. You know what? Overture is so freaking good, though. I mean, Overture is one of the best things I've smelled in the last 5 years. Like, I think it's a masterpiece. AC from Smells Good just reviewed it. He did a decent job, but he was working off a sample. And man, when you have a bottle and you're just covered in the stuff, it's different. Yes, Bowling Green. There were so many I forgot. There's just so much to remember. 10 ml decan of Interlude. It's really, see, I need to try these 53, 58s, 47s, 69s. They got all these weird, you know, what do they call them? Oil concentrate, like stupendous oil concentrated versions or some stupid name. Yep, Neanderthal. I've seen the bottle. I've never tried it. There's an exclusivity deal that Boynikov has with an Israeli perfume store, which makes getting reasonably priced samples as a living hell. I guess I'll just ride the train for 2 hours to smell some. That sucks, man. That Lee from Fragnanimous guy, if you're not in Israel, sorry, Deb, but if you're anywhere else in the US or Canada, that Lee from Fragnanimous is a great source. He is he usually sends you some really good samples with your order too. Paco Rabanne for Homme. Cheers, my man. I love it, Abraz. That's good stuff. I have not tried Reflection 45. I haven't tried the Honor one. There was like Honor 43 or something. I haven't tried Interlude. I haven't tried Reflection. I have a video up on Epic EDP versus Epic 56. The woman's, you know, they have a women's version, Epic 56, which was good, but I'm just going to stick with my bottle. There's no need to go out, run out and buy that. I ordered a sample set from Fragrance Dubai, and the only one I liked was Oud Orange Intense, but the price is silly, insane. They are off their rocker. I can't stomach Overture, man. Really? A Corpse Accord? Let me ask you this. Is it the one that says Overture on the bottom of the bottle, like on the front, or is it on the sides? Like here, let me show you. So I ordered mine when it was still a Harrods exclusive, and the Overture that I got when it first came out doesn't say it here. It says it on the side right here. And I'm wondering if there's been a reformulation, because AC from Smells Good did this review yesterday where he was like, oh, the projection on this is horrible, and it only projects for like an hour. And I was like, what? This thing lasts like 12 hours on me. It lasts forever. It projects forever. And him saying that made my antennas go boing. So I'm kind of worried about the fish man going in there and tinkering with things again. But I don't know. I honestly don't know. So I'm curious if Dimitri, did the bottle you get say it here, or did it say it kind of old school on the sides? Like they used to do, and right here. I'm just wondering if there's been reforms, because that's a big concern of mine with when the new guy came in, because he was all about money. 100% backup bottle worthy. 100%. Only need the OG Interlude. It's just impossible to find. Like if you came to the party late, like Shiva was saying, he just started collecting the last couple years ago. Good luck finding an OG Interlude. Yep. I see 3 versions, but I have the newest. Which version do you prefer? Well, I've never done direct side-by-side comparisons, but the version that you want you can go really deep into this. I think there's like 5 versions, actually. If you go to Raiders of the Lost Scent, there's an entire article on it, but the one you want just high level is the one with the sticker. The newer one has it like imprinted on the bottle, no sticker. You can find one with the sticker, go for that one. Yeah, it's easy to become obsessed with, man. It's one of the best aromatic fougères out there, I think. Yep, that's it. Top 10 fragrances to make live streams with. Good day. Scent of the day, Marquet Salvatore Dali Rock and Roll. Never even heard of that, Pike. Creed Green Valley, you bastard. Don't tell people that. I find it calming and helps me unwind. Yes. Creed Green Valley is on my unicorn list. I would love a bottle, and I had a chance to buy a bottle, but I thought the guy, because it was a friend of Muda Sears, and I was like, I'll give him $400. It was like a 60% full 100 ml bottle or something, 120 ml bottle, and I thought he was going to go for it, and then he was like, he looked online and saw the prices. He wants $650, and I was like, nope, I'm out. Forget it. Not going to do that. Like, I'll pay, but I'm not going to get like totally bent over. Like, go sell it to someone on eBay then, buddy. I'm out. Ottoman Empire 3. Have you tried any variation of that? Yes, I have a video on it. I have the I actually have a little bit, thanks to one of you, of the very first version of it. Ottoman Empire, the original. It's amazing. I've sprayed this one time. As you can see, there's just enough for maybe a couple more sprays. It is unbelievable. One of the best things I've smelled in my journey ever. It's unbelievable. It's so unreal. Speaking of unicorn lists, I want this. God, I would love to have the first version. It's just impossible to find. And Russian Adam says he hasn't changed a single thing with the formula, that every time he makes it, it's exactly the same. And I believe him. I believe him. So yes, go watch my video. My video's on the second one, though. But again, Russian Adam claims 1, 2, 3, and 4 are all the same, that nothing has changed. He uses the same exact formula. More powdery and less fruity. Interesting. Revisiting Lanvin for Men from 79 tonight. Lanvin for Men. Nice. I think Monsieur Lanvin is the one I really want a bottle of. I bought a bottle and it wasn't very good, I don't think. Roja Qatar. What do you think of that, Justice? That's on my to sniff list. I don't like the normal one, but the benzoin makes a whole lot of difference. Interesting. That's the one Overture I tried with the name on the side. And you think it smells like a corpse. I think it's probably the mixture of the grapefruit and the animalics, because there is this cuminy, grapefruity animalic thing going on. For me, I love animalics, so this is perfect. This is like a dream winter scent for me, you know. But I get it. It's not for everybody, for sure. I know the winner of the 1930s rank list is Shalimar. Shalimar came out in the 20s, actually, Dushan. Although they did come out with an eau de cologne version of Shalimar in the 1930s, but I don't have it. Let me catch up on the comments, and then we'll kick off this list. I have a 30 ml partial of Overture, and it's my black tie fragrance. So yes, it is black tie for sure. That's a great way to put it. It could easily be a black tie fragrance. Yep. Definitely better than Celine black tie, I'll tell you that. That shit's disgusting and doesn't come off. To each their own, man. To each their own, right? It's your nose. You're the only one that smells through your nose. I'm the only one that smells through my nose, and so that's why this is such a personal hobby, you know? Anyone knows how lots of people dumping their collections on eBay. UK is full of vintage creeds, and there are loads of Arige. There is not a bunch of vintage creeds on the US website, I'll tell you that. Maybe the UK people are in dire straits trying to pay their $10,000 electric bills. I don't know, but I would love some vintage Arige and vintage creed love, but we don't see that over here. Lanvin for Men 79. I can't place that one, man. I can't place that. Lanvin for Men. The one that I really want a bottle of is Monsieur Lanvin. Monsieur Lanvin from 63. It comes in the same bottle, much more animalics like civet and stuff like that. I know, just the normal interlude. I'm with you. Yeah, I said the same thing. I left him a message saying, man, I don't know what you're talking about, AC, but maybe he got a newer sample or something. That's the only thing I can think of. My first fragrance gifted or purchased for me was Cool Water when I was a kid on an airplane, when they used to sell fragrances on air. I guess they still do sell fragrances on airplanes. But, you know, I was born in the mid-'80s, so of course it would be Cool Water. And then in the 90s, I wore a lot of that Nautica that came in that, you know, blue like bottle or whatever. I've got a sample. I smelled it today. I'm like, doesn't even move me like nostalgically, you know, like it does nothing for me. Yep, that's what it is right there. It does. It pales in comparison for sure. Ah, Jonathan's here. Welcome, my friend. Good evening. Good evening. I have the new version of Overture, and it's perfectly fine. Longevity and projection to the sky, but could be that the first sample was unbalanced as first batch with the animalic and cumin. Interesting. Hang on, let me check this text Shiva sent me. Wow, dude, that's crazy, Shiva. Yes, that's crazy. 1980s True Amouage gold batch, gold bottle version. That's awesome. Original Ottoman Empire 3 version gives me vibes of Bortnikov Oud Maximus, not too similar, but in the same mood. I know what you mean. It's because they're both rose ouds. But the more I've worn my now, to be fair though, I don't have the original Oud Maximus, so I don't know if you go to Parfumo and type in Oud Maximus, there's two different versions you can click on. I have the Oud Maximus 2020. And if you go down to the very bottom, it says, according to the manufacturer, the formulation of the fragrance has changed slightly. Who knows how slightly is according to them. But they also have a version for just regular Oud Maximus, the original. So I don't know if the original Oud Maximus from Bortnikov will remind you a little bit more of the original Ottoman Empire or what. But I think at this point in the journey, and seeing the way that Russian Atom kind of makes his fragrance in limited quantities versus Bortnikov, that it just always seems to be available. I still don't understand how that's possible. You know, I think I would take Russian Atom's fragrances, just like the other day when I wore Oud Maximus 2020, I was saying how that sweet orange in the top came out much sweeter than I remember. The Oud didn't smell as natural as I remember. And someone was saying they were wearing Oud Zen by Aris-le-Doré, and I was like, I think I would take that over Oud Maximus right now if I could, and I would definitely take a bottle of Ottoman Empire over Oud Maximus if I could. So who knows? Maybe I'll find a swap one day or something. Yep, 1925. All right, that's a good way to start the video. So I pulled out all of my fragrances from the 1930s, and eventually, once we get to the 1980s, when I have like 10, 20 fragrances in each year, we're going to rank, you know, each year individually, 81, 82, 83, so forth and so on. But for now, I don't even have enough fragrances in the 1930s to do a top 10. So we're just going to start at number 7, because that's all I have. I only have 7 fragrances from the 1930s in my collection. And this first one to begin with is actually suspect because it originally came out in 1932, but then it was re-released in the 70s. So my guess is that this bottle that I'm holding, which is from a Nuge, was probably a re-release from the 1970s. That's my guess. But it's from the house of Fragonard, and it's called Zizanie. This fragrance actually got a little bit of play on the aromatic fougere list I did the other day because a Nuge brought it up. He mentioned that this is a powdery take on lavender, patchouli, and sandalwood, and it's kind of in that you know, fougere style, but very powdery. And I had mentioned that we were in a different fragrance channel. We were talking about what fragrances Elvis likes, because Elvis actually has his own fragrance from the late 80s, I believe, after the band was broken up and he was dead or whatever. But it's supposed to be good. But it doesn't smell like anything that Elvis would like, because rumor is Elvis liked stuff like this that's very powdery. And so this is a very powdery vintage. Look how old this looks. I mean, it just gives vibes of vintage. I mean, the bottle is just nothing but a stock circular bottle with a sticker on it. And it's a cologne concentration, as you can see, 65 ml bottle, very strange. And it came out in 1932 originally. And then it was re-released, and it was re-released in 19 Zizanie, 1972. They re-released it. So woody, powdery, maybe a little bit of like cinnamon in it, you know, that kind of thing. Very strange, very, very, very strange that this is a masculine that did well enough to be re-released. You know, it's just so, it's so powdery. I think a lot of people might have a hard time with this, but as a, you know, as a time machine to what was popular back then, this is very, very interesting. I think there's no note tree, by the way. So I think there's lavender, some sort of powder, maybe a little bit of iris, and some patchouli and sandalwood, and that's it, is my guess. I don't think it's very complex at all. But the fact that this came out in 1932 originally, there's another lavender scent, which I like even more, that came out a couple years later. It was kind of, you know, what was popular back in the 30s for men. And so that's coming up very soon as well. So this comes in at number 7. I don't even have enough to do a top 10, but we've got the whole decade knocked out. So next we'll go to the 40s, the 50s, the 60s. And then I think once we get to the 70s, I might have enough to start, you know, doing individual years. So that'll be fun. You tried any vintage Grossmiths? No, I have not. I know of them. I know that Roja helped them get off the ground as a brand, like helped them do research that they came from a family of perfumers, and I know their story, but I've never sniffed one. They're supposedly very expensive. I like it a lot, but it could be too sweet for you. It has that cotton candy accord. Ugh. But I don't mind Roja's cotton candy accord. There's a cotton candy accord in Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, and I like that. So my next full bottle purchase when it will have will either be Healy, Anthenon, Roja Scandal, Parfum Cologne. Oh, don't do that. Or Zoologist Civet. Civet is very good. Civet actually reminds me a lot of Roja's Chypre Extraordinaire, which is like $1,000 perfume. And it reminds me of that Darren Allen Chypre that I wore yesterday, Chypre number 1. Did I even give you guys my scent of the day? I don't think I did. I think we skipped right to number 7 on the list. I was just so excited. My scent of the day today also is from Anouge. This came from the Anouge warehouse, and this is supposed to be a refill, a recharge for there's supposed to be like this cool little plastic piece that goes around it to make it look fancy, which I passed on buying because all I care about is the juice. And this is Miss Dior, Esprit de Parfum. This is a vintage. You can see the old Christian Dior markings. You can see the old address down there for Parfum's Christian Dior. Look at the color of the juice. I mean, and this is so good. I was watching a round table. If you go to Frederick Maul's YouTube channel, a couple videos down, there's an hour and a half long chat between Pierre Bourdon, Anne Filippo, Jean-Claude Elena, of course, Frederick Maul's there, and Maurice Roussel, and Dominique Ropion. They're all there kind of like on this little round table, and they're talking. And Pierre Bourdon, who I think he's a genius. I don't think he's just a genius with perfume. I think he's literally a genius. Like if you listen to him talk, you listen to what he reads, and you know, he just constantly devouring information. I think he's literally a genius. And he was like, isn't it interesting that Frederick Maul and I, when we made French Lover together, Boiterage in the United States is what they call it, French Lover in the European market. He said, isn't it interesting that without even thinking about it, we remade the fragrance of our mother's cologne? And the interviewer was like, oh, what's that? And he was like, Miss Dior. Miss Dior is the perfume of our mothers. This came out in the 40s, I believe, or 50s. It's bergamot, galbanum, and the galbanum here is beautiful. Actually, I know I said, and I stand by this, the number 1 fragrance that reminds me of Eugene's new perfume, which comes out on the 24th of January, Dessandra's, is Devon by Aramis, hands down. But there actually is little touches of the way that the galbanum turns a little bit smoky here. It almost feels like you're smelling tobacco in the opening, just how green and smoky it is. It's like a green tobacco. And it does slowly turn more powdery and soft as the hours go by. But man, the first hour is just so masculine because it's galbanum and sage. And sage historically is a big masculine note. So it's galbanum and sage with bergamot to keep it kind of, you know, fresh and sprightly, with gardenia, carnation, another old masculine flower, jasmine, narcissus, neroli, rose, oak moss, labdanum, patchouli, sandalwood. I mean, if you take out like one or two of those flowers, this is a out and out masculine perfume nowadays. This actually blows away most of the masculine. So just because it says Miss Dior, do not let that stop you, especially if you want to explore the galbanum note in here. It's one of the best. You know, right up there with Chanel number 19 for me. That Chypre construction too. This is one of those Chypres that doesn't get the love, but I love this. And the only thing is you have to go older because Dior, like, there's like 50 versions of Miss Dior is the problem, and you never know which one you're going to get. So the older you go, the better. Just if you're talking to someone like Anuj, just ask him to send you the oldest bottle he has. It's going to be the most expensive, but ask him to send you the oldest. And you know, it's stunning fragrance, and just, you know, really of its time. So good, such an honor to wear. All right, let's catch up on the comments. Yep, I agree. Salvador Dali Rock and Roll Coup de Fou is a very rare 60s fragrance, but since discovering your channel, I'm pushing myself to wear even my rare things more and not just look at them. That's right. That's what they're here for. They're here to create memories with. How can you create memories with them if you don't wear them? That's the way I look at it. So that's good stuff, Pike. Let me look this up. Let me look up this Salvador Dali Rock. It's not even in the database, dude. Salvador Dali Rock and Roll Coup de Fou. No, it's not even in the database, man. I thought the first Salvador Dali fragrances came out in the 80s. Am I wrong? Interesting. All right, we'll have to talk more about that, Pike. That one and Roche's Enigma Pour Homme are the best. I agree. The best cognac, yeah. There was another cognac note that I was talking about recently. There was another cognac note that I was mentioning. Oh, it's in Escada Pour Homme. So Escada Pour Homme from '93, Roche's Enigma Pour Homme, and then Overture Man are probably my three favorite cognacs. Although apparently there's also cognac and Angel Share, but that's way too sweet for me. And there's cognac in a fragrance I almost blind bought recently from Lalique called Ombre Noir. And I thought it was discontinued. It's not. It's actually only available on their website. So you have to go to the Lalique website to order it. But the notes look very interesting. Bergamot, fig leaf, peppermint, tobacco, cinnamon, papyrus, frankincense, myrrh, cognac, tonka bean, and cedarwood. Sounds pretty good. And Lalique is usually very underrated. They usually do really good stuff. Yes, that's right. And I don't really care for Pour Monsieur, but I love Monsieur Lanvin. Ah, like the chat. Thank you, Rachel. Yeah, I'm usually not very good at self-aggrandizement or self-promotion. So thank you. Thank you for the reminder. Like the stream, like the chat. I have Overture with it on the front and Made in Oman. It's perfect. Excellent. Good to hear. So it's not the reform. It's just probably those animalics are tough to deal with. My Maximus is also 2020. Yeah, I think most of them are. I think they only produced that original Oud Maximus for like a year. My first purchase scent was Val de Serini Eau de Cologne. That's actually a really good fragrance that no one talks about. That was done by one of the legends, Pierre Wargnai. Break out the boas. I may pull a trigger on a Risador Ottoman Empire 3. Some still floating around on eBay at ridiculous price. How ridiculous? Like ridiculous cheap or ridiculous expensive? So the top spot is Caron pour Homme? No, but that's coming up very soon. The Roaring 20s and 30s. The Roaring 20s and the depression of the 30s. Elvis would wear Cocaine by Frank Backlund. Working man's lunch pail style bottle looks like a thermos. It is beautiful, Rachel. I'm telling you. I don't know if you've smelled these older versions of Miss Dior, but they are stunning, and they really make you realize what happened to the French houses. Like, you know, what they were back then. They were just so much more than they are now. I really think that the great houses of the past are in peril. I think the French houses are in peril. Look at the shit YSL and Dior are putting out lately. I mean, even Guerlain. It's just a shame. It's like they were captured by the money interests, you know? On that video I was watching yesterday, Pierre Bourdon jokingly made the case that if we could just throw out the moneyed interest, that we could take back control of the big houses and start taking risks again. Because they're all about not taking risks, because they're all about money, not great perfume. And he's right. But I don't think you're going to be able to dislodge the moneyed interest that easy. No, I didn't really talk about it. Just kind of high level talk. It reminds me of Civet a little bit by Zoologist, and I was expecting a little bit more, but it's good. It's good. It's just not. It didn't blow me away, but I'm excited to try that. What did you say? It was the one that you said you're really taken with is Fêtes de Noël. This one, right? Fêtes de Noël. Maybe I'll do a video on that tonight or something. We'll see. We'll see. I'm trying to do more of these sample videos like at night without wearing it all day, so I can wear other stuff I love. You know, this is only the second time I've worn this, and I've had this for a year or something. So I'm trying to wear more of the stuff I really love, and, you know, not wear samples I know nothing about as my scent of the day. I'll still do it sometimes, but I'm going to try to make it more, you know, that's going to be like my nighttime, you know, wear it at night for a couple hours and then do a video on it. Legend says, if you say his name 3 times in front of a mirror, yeah, man, I'm telling you, Miss Dior is out of this world. Where is Anoush? Anoush! 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 The texture of Miss Dior is extraordinarily beautiful. It's amazing. It really is one of the fragrances that I know everyone talks about some of the other Edmund Rudnitskas, but I really think this is one of the fragrances that like cements the reason why people consider him like the master, the greatest perfumer of all time. Yep. When all of our power base is in one stream, you're right. Number 1 on the list is Tabu. Ah, okay. Very good guess, but no. It is on the list, but no. Don't buy the contemporary Miss Dior. Nothing. It is. You're exactly right. The contemporary one is shite. Yep. Everyone here is wonderful. Yep, we've got a great base. Tabu masculine, feminine, love it. Are you saying that there is one called Tabu masculine? No, you're just saying Tabu itself is masculine and feminine. Yes, it is. It is. It's a great Oriental, spicy Oriental. Very underrated. Very few people talk about it. I think because it also has a lot of versions. And the House of Dana was like a zombie house. Like it died. It was revived again by the moneyed interests. And then it died again. And then another person tried to revive it. And every time they did, they cut what the perfume was. I've tried Pure Distance and Notice after your recommendation, and it's good. Nice. Yeah, most of those Pure Distances are quality from what I hear. Yeah, I know. I'm a demanding general. What can I say? I push you guys hard. I was just looking at the Ombre Noir. That's been on my radar. It does look interesting, right? That cognac note. Long form does filter for the diehards. Yep, that's it. The vintage is different. I will tell you that, Arnold. It might be one of those where it's worth getting even if you have the modern. But the modern is still very good. And if you have smelled Devon, I would be very interested to see your reaction when you smell Dessandra's. Doesn't reinvent the wheel, but I dig it. Yep, I'm a big fan of Miss Dior. Yeah, me too. I'm a big fan of Edmund Rudnitska. I don't think I've smelled a Rudnitska fragrance that I don't like. Didn't Bowie wear a Dior Feminine? Can't remember if it was Miss Dior or Diorella. I don't remember either. Which one? If anyone knows, let me know. Devon is very good. Sous La Vent, if you haven't. Cheaper with Sweet Pea. I have not. Actually, there's a vintage Guerlain that came out in the 1930s that I was looking at that I actually don't have. I don't obviously I don't have everything, but it's called Vega. And it came out in 1936 and it's a spicy floral. Aldehydes, jasmine, bergamot, neroli, jasmine, rose, ylang, sweet acacia, orange blossom, vetiver, patchouli, sandalwood, iris, vanilla, jasmine, heliotrope, musk, and tonka bean. Sounds pretty amazing for a Guerlain. I've never smelled it. I think Eugene has a bottle, if memory serves. I think he has a bottle of Vega because I think they re-released it in 2005 or something. Their Once Upon a Time Guerlain collection or whatever they called it. So, so yes, that's one that would probably be high up on the list too. Yeah, Fêtes de Noël. I'm very interested in getting to know. Nope, pea like peas in a pod. Interesting indeed. Sweet pea is a flower. We need a This Is Not a Top 10 So Fresh and So Clean edition. I did a This Is Not a Top 10 soapy edition. I don't know if you guys have seen that. There is a woman walking up to my house. She's not the FedEx lady. Who is that? Sorry, I meant as an example to correct spelling apart from T. Hey, Daver, welcome. I really thought it was a vegetable or some green scent. Yeah, there you go. Nikki's, hey, Anuj, the circle is complete. We summoned him. There you are, the wonderful Anuj. He's working on my order. Yes, Rachel wants to know if you have more Miss Dior Esprit de Parfum for her. This is a must. See, even while you're not here, Anuj, I'm selling for you. You just sit back and put your feet up and let Ram do all the heavy lifting. Yep, set one aside for Rachel. Bandit was a 40s release. Have any Sous La Vent? Yep, 44. Recherche Femme. God, imagine trying to rank the 40s. Ugh, you know that I think about it. My next bottle could very well be a modern Mitsuko. Dude, just see if Anuj has a vintage Mitsuko he can set aside for you. Doesn't have to be anything crazy. He found me one bottle that's like, oh, let's see. He found me this one for a really good price. It's an older. These are like I think 80s or early 90s or something. But they've got the 5-digit batch code on the bottom. This Mitsuko is out of this world. This is the Eau de Toilette. I mean, I've got a 2014 bottle of the Eau de Parfum as well. And this is, I don't know when, but it's a 5-digit batch code. So it's older of the Eau de Toilette. God, I can't wait to try the X-Ray one day. I bet the X-Ray is unbelievable. Yep. Mitsuko is one of technically the best perfumes I've ever smelled. Check my Frederick malls based on your instructions, and 5 of my malls is the before Estee one. Good one to hit on indeed. That's good stuff. Yeah, I want a vintage portrait of a lady. Yes, Dunhill for Men is on here. Well, I guess we should do one more since we only did number 7. Let's do number 6, and then we'll check more comments. Number 6 is a fragrance I'm still getting to know, and it was actually a gift from Natalia. She sent me this. It's a modern version. I think it's a modern version of a what's her name? Elsa Schiaparelli. And Elsa Schiaparelli and Coco Chanel hated each other, by the way. If you ever want to read like some serious girl fangs out hate, I mean serious hate, go read what they used to say about each other in the papers. I remember reading something where Coco Chanel said that the hotel leaves the back door open so Miss Schiaparelli can kind of sneak in to the hotel unseen. Hint, hint. And you know, just brutal stuff like that. But this is Shocking. So Shocking by Schiaparelli is going to be number 6 on the list, and it came out in 1937. And it's actually probably the most popular fragrance from that year, 1937. It was a huge hit, like a smash hit, and it's actually the bottle that inspired Jean-Paul Gaultier to make his torso bottle. It was this. The original bottle was designed by a woman, I believe, Leonore Fini. 1937. It's aldehydes, bergamot, tarragon, honey, jasmine, narcissus, rose, ylang-ylang, amber, carnation, musk, patchouli, sandalwood, and civet. And here's the thing. This is my kind of animalic fragrance. It was made by perfumer Jean Carles. And I think that this could easily rise up my list, especially if I could ever hunt down a true vintage. I have a feeling the vintages would be one of my kind of floral fragrances because it's so, even this modern one has some teeth to it. It's got that civet animalic funk that I really like. Okay, that just spilled all over me. So now I'm wearing some Shocking as well as Miss Dior. All right, there you go. It was meant to be. I got some Shocking right here. It is very good, though. I mean, even for a modern, I must admit, it is very good. It's I've tried it once before, and it's good. I mean, it's aldehydic, honey, floral, everything I like in a floral. It's here. I just have a feeling that they made this a little bit more digestible for modern noses. You know, like they really took some of that funk out from the good old days. That's my guess. That's my guess. So Shocking comes in at number 6. Apparently, the old bottles of this had an S that almost looked like a Superman S. If you ever see some of these really old bottles on eBay, I'm just scared to buy old bottles of this stuff because 1937 is a long ass time ago, and I don't really know. I don't know how to judge a bottle. Like I can't tell which ones are from the late 30s, the 40s, the 50s, the 60s. I have no clue. And so maybe if I could find one from the 60s or 70s. You know, that's still a long time ago, but if it's well stored, I bet you it'd be great. But yes, Shocking by Elsa Schiaparelli at number 6. What do you guys think? Have you guys smelled that one? Do you guys have any experience with it? Thanks to Natalia for sending this to me, by the way. Even in the modern, it does have a pretty short ingredient list, though. So I don't know how old this bottle is. Apparently it's still available for purchase, but it's a pretty short ingredient list for a modern fragrance, eh? It just says alcohol, parfum, and SD alcohol 39C fragrance water. Made in France. Very interesting. Very interesting fragrance. Let's catch up on the comments. Dolly first started in the 20s with Schiaparelli in the 30s and 40s, even Schulten in the 50s and Marcoy Perry in the 60s. You should read his Perfume historical because he was quoted as wanting to ... I bought a vintage Mitsuko from Anuj, you probably mean, right? Great price, great frag. Yep. Actually smell like a ram. From where? Probably Anuj. Yeah, honestly, my nose thinks of Mitsuko at random times. Scent just comes to mind. Yep, it's amazing. One of the best of all time. Anyone tried Pommery's Stolen Perfume Rasa? I have not. From this year, I think I have Chevalier d'Orsay. You know, d'Orsay is a house that Parfums d'Orsay is a house that I would like to explore. I hear they were very big in the 30s and 40s, and then they just kind of lost out. There you go, Anuj. There you go, Rachel. Honestly, I just want Mitsuko or L'Air Bleu in the classic upside down heart cap bottle. Fair enough. To each their own. I've not tried Rasa yet, is what I mean. Nice. But like the house in general. Okay, good to hear. I've never tried anything from that house. There's just so much. It's impossible. I have vintage decants of all the great Guerlains, and there's just something about them. I don't know if it's the quality of ingredients, but they still smell wonderful and captivating a century later. Yes, and I really, really, really want like a bottle of Guerlain's Cuir de Russie. Rich Mitch was singing its praises, and I would love to own a bottle of that. But I mean, you're talking probably thousands to get a bottle. Maybe a 5 ml decant would be better. Well, I also have Homme de Caron, but the formula's from the 2000s. Yep, I've got an older bottle too. It's coming up pretty soon. Schiaparelli. Okay, interesting. Thanks. I'll probably forget that, Dushan. Jedi is something else. My favorite Guerlain by far, though, is Bouquet. Ah, you know what? Russian Adam told me the same thing like months ago. He was like, dude, I got this random Guerlain called Bouquet de Founds, and it's the most incredible thing I've ever smelled with that suede note. And I was like, oh, you're just fucking with me now, man. Like, I have to smell that. Vintage Creed Tabarome, any good? There one left. I got my eye at one of my vintage shops, and how much would you pay? Do you mean Tabarome Millésime or vintage Tabarome that came out in the flacon in like 2010? Which one? Which one, Staffs? Because there's differences. Do you mean this one? The one that actually says Tabarome Millésime, or the one that is vintage Tabarome that comes in the flacon? That's very rare. So this is basically like this ginger fresh tobacco. And the tobacco kind of goes on like an arch as the fragrance dries. It starts out very green and fresh, and it kind of turns into this very fine tobacco as the hours tick by. It's a beautiful fragrance. It's a great tobacco for like summer, spring, because it's so fresh. You know, but I like these for summer. I like stuff like this for summer. But you know, I don't know how much you would pay. If you can get a 75 ml bottle or 120 ml bottle, then you know it might be worth ponying up a little bit. But it is unbelievable. That animalic vetiver thing is insane. Yes, Bouquet de Fonds is on my all-time unicorn lists. I wore Roche's Femme to bed the other night. Love it, but I think that's 40s. It is. Yeah, it's in the 40s. Yep, agreed. You should try also something by Henry Beatrix. It's great stuff. Never heard of it. Ukio. I haven't really liked my bottle of Avignon. I'd say just personally, Jedi for me is on a whole nother level. Yeah. Yeah, I don't think you could compare Avignon to Jedi, and I haven't even smelled Avignon, but just knowing what it is, like that church incense thing, Jedi is out of this world. Talking about indie perfumers, Rachel and I would like to be the guests on Manuel Cross and Liz Moore's wedding. Oh, yes, that's right. The evolution of Anouge. Would love to see comparisons between Bortnikov's first edition and today's bottle. Yeah, me too. I don't have any of those juices though. I mean, I do have some older wood cap versions of like Musk Habib and stuff like that, but I don't have like the newer ones. Someone would have to send me some of the newer juice. I have a decant of Chanel Cuir de Russie, but never smelled Guerlain's. Ah, so you don't have all the old Guerlain's 992. What year is your turbo, by the way? Yes, got a 2021 Rasa Nice Natural Note Plus. Food, sadly, doesn't last a long time. Ah, that sucks. Vol de Nuit, #1, eh? Hey, very interesting guess. Ah, Keith, welcome. Now that I think about it, if I really wanted something citrusy in the vein of Scandal Parfum Cologne, I could just get the Healy. Don't buy Scandal Parfum Cologne, dude. I mean, have we taught you nothing, Dev? Jesus. I'm going to send Kevin after you if you don't learn your lesson. I've never had a really old fragrance that's turned, especially the pure parfums, and yet I have 4 creeds from the 2010s that have. Thank you. Thank you. I have so many creeds that I've had some issues with. I got a creed from Anouge, actually, a Silver Mountain Water that had an issue. And, of course, he made it right instantly. But I was shocked. I mean, it was 20 years old, but still, like you said, there's stuff I've smelled from 50, 70 years ago, and it's fine. And then you smell these creeds, and they turn in no time. So, yeah, I'm with you, Pike. I don't know what's going on there. If you listen to a creed rep, they'd probably say it's because of the high-quality naturals that we use. Hello, Alan. Welcome, my friend. Vintage Eau de Rochas Homme is hard to beat for a summer scent. Agreed. 100% agreed. It smells, vintage Eau de Rochas Homme smells very similar to Creed's Neroli Sauvage, which sells for $500. I got my bottle, my 100 ml bottle of vintage Eau de Rochas Homme for like $15, $18 or something. It's unbelievable. Notoriety by Mason de Darius. Never heard of it, Alan. You're coming with the under the radar sense. Don't have Guerlain Cuir de Russie, but I have Creed 1. You do have Creed 1. So now you've rubbed 2 creeds in today, Pike. Green Valley and Creed's Cuir de Russie, which they claim came from you know, the year 1721 as Napoleon was ravishing Europe. I mean, you know, clearly that's what Napoleon smelled like, right? Winston Churchill, give it back to me, Ramsey. Yes, that's right. Winston Churchill probably sent Creed a cease and desist letter for using his name. Silver Mountain Water tend to turn even if stored well. Yep. So those are the 2 that actually turned on me. Silver Mountain Water and Millésime Imperial. You're exactly right. My late grandfather used Henry M. Beatrix City potent stuff. I have a mini FY Beatrix produced boss #1. Really? Very interesting, Manly. Very interesting. He is the best. There's no doubt about it. I have to rise and shine pretty early tomorrow, so this is signing off. Don't worry, Ram. I'm not getting the Parfum Cologne. My money lies with James Healy anyhow. Well, okay. Just stop going back and forth, Dev. Make up your mind. Good night, Dev. Peace. I have some fragrances that are more than 50 years old, but were well stored and they are still in minty shape. Yep, I agree. I mean, it's pretty funny seeing some of these you know, brands that put like expiration dates on their perfume. Like my Musk Ravageur said it expired like years ago. It's the old matte cap version. And I think that was one of the reasons that the guy was selling it. He gave it to me for almost nothing, you know, like $150 or something. And I just kind of laughed because that thing will probably be good for another 50 years. When are we getting to numbers 6 through 1? Right now. Right now. I have a 2011 Creed, so opening might be a little off, but other than that, it's all good. Yeah. So I think Anuj bought these in the early 2000s, like 2001, 2, 3, he said. That's right, Alan. Anuj, he's the man. If he can't smell it, no one can. You're right. You're spot on. All right, let's do another one. So we did Elsa Schiaparelli at number 6, shocking. And number 5 is a modern, but I wish I had a vintage. It's here because I'm torn between, this was back and forth between shocking and this one. But I think if I had a vintage of this, I would like it more than a vintage of shocking. I think, but I really don't know. It's called Dunhill for Men. Are you guys familiar with this one? Now, this is a modern, unfortunately. Very unfortunately. I want a vintage of this. I've been looking for a vintage of it. I just don't want to pay vintage money for it. But this is basically this very old school take on like a lavender leather. Okay. So it's like a woody, lavendery, leathery, floral fragrance. It's very strange, very old school. It smells very, to me, at least this modern version smells very old school to me, but I enjoy it because I like leather. It's got lavender, clary sage, petitgrain, lemon, carnation, iris, jasmine, rose, leather, tonka bean, vetiver, and cedar. And the citruses do last a long time in this version, but they don't smell very, they don't smell too good. They don't smell high class. They smell kind of cheap, you know, like when you first spray Dunhill for Men, doesn't smell that great. This version, and this is a current, who made this one? Distributed by, shit, I can't see. Can't read it. The numbers are blocking it. I can't read that. But this is a newer version. It's not a vintage. But I'm sure some of you guys have experienced the vintages. And if you have, I would love to know your thoughts. If you think it's worth going for the vintage Dunhill for Men from 1934. I think it used to be called Dunhill Classic Blend or something. So yes, woody, floral, lavendery, leathery fragrance. Very old school. You know, this and Equipage are two of the oldest, probably two of the oldest smelling masculine fragrances in my collection to me. Like if I really wanted to smell like an older gentleman, it would be Dunhill for Men or Equipage. All right, let's check the comments. Bravo, Alan. That's why I don't buy any of the citrus heavy vintage creeds. Anyone have vintage Tab, Ceylon, and Windsor, hit me up, and then I'm done with them. I want vintage Tab Rome too, Pike. So yes, fill me in. Buy it and send me a decant or something. I do have a decant of Windsor though. So there is that. I got you on one at least. I have a guess for number 1, and I'm curious if I'm right. You're probably right. Keith, there are Henry M. Beatrix floating around out there. A couple different releases, reasonably priced too. Nice. Hey, Kubin, welcome. I still wouldn't get a citrus-based vintage made before 1980. Yeah, I agree with you. Dunhill has become my number 1 house over the last year. Well, I don't know if the whole house, but I can tell you this has become one of my favorite vintages over the last year. This is unbelievable. Dunhill Blend 30 is everything that people say it is. It's like, you know, it's like when people talk good about George Washington and then you read the stories of him and, you know, riding through the battlefield, leading his men from the front, bullet holes going through his uniform, you know, and it's real. That's what Dunhill Blend 30 reminds me of. Sometimes these unicorn masculines get so hyped up and you get them and you're like, oh shit, that's it. But this one is never like, that's it. It's amazing. I'm so glad to have 250 mils of this bad boy. This is a big boy right here. So yes, Dunhill Blend 30 I think is the best from the house. That's why I'm curious if these vintage bottles of Dunhill for Men are worth hunting down before the modern reformulations killed it. Let's see. Let me get a blotter. Let's get a blotter. It's been a while since I've sprayed this. Yeah, that lavender lemon combination just comes across smelling cheap in the opening in the modern. It says this was discontinued though. Did you guys know that? According to Parfumo, this is completely discontinued, even in these new versions. But if you give it half an hour, I remember the carnation coming out, the leather coming out within half an hour, I started to like what it turned into. But that first half an hour or so is rough. I'm just curious if the vintage is better. I'm sure it is. It just smells cheap to me. It smells, you know, it smells like a $20 fragrance at discounters. All right, where are we? Vintage Dunhill for Men, my first date fragrance. As guys my age are wearing Eros, so the girl hasn't smelled a man before, and also work as litmus test on her tolerating all the other animalics. That's good stuff. I don't think it's as similar in smell necessarily, but I think it's similar in feel. You know what I mean? Like Dunhill for Men and Equipage both feel, maybe they are also similar in smell, but they feel the same to my nose, you know? Like, it's what I would imagine an older gentleman wearing, which there's nothing wrong with that because I like vintage fragrances, but Molinard Patchouli Vanille. Never smelled that one. I've smelled Molinard. I own Molinard Patchouli. Yep, Blend 30 is the GOAT. It is. Still smelling Amouage Black Iris on my clothes from yesterday. Yep, you get that stuff on your clothes, it's never coming out, dude. Going after the aftershave also. You're going to do what I did with Gentleman, with Margaret Gentleman, eh? Do the aftershave and the EDT. You'll be projecting Blend 30 until the end of time. I have a vintage Dunhill cologne and it's quality. Never sniffed the modern. I think only paid $50. They quite common here. It seems everything's quite common on UK eBay Pike. It is MLK Day here. Yes. Yes, it is. It's a nice day out, so there's a bunch of people walking around. And someone came off and dropped something off at my door, and I don't even know what it is. Stories of George Washington. That's right. You know why they used to put pictures of George Washington in an outhouse, right? Back in the day, they would put pictures of Georgie Porgy in an outhouse. You know why? When the British visited, they would say nothing makes a British person shit faster than a picture of George Washington. Sorry about that, Rich. But it is MLK Day. Work again. I know, Antonio. Never ending. A soldier's work is never done. Black Iris smells boring and pointless compared to OG Blue Beast. I think it's okay. It's more wearable. It's not as interesting, but I'm with you. I know what you mean, Palace. I seriously want to travel Europe just to hit mom and pop frag shops. Seriously, Jonathan, let's do it. Let's book some vacations and just travel the countryside hitting mom and pop perfume shops. I have Davidoff Relax. I figure that Blend 30 is a bit similar, maybe less sweet. I have never smelled Relax, so I can't speak to that. I know of it, but I've never smelled it. I've never smelled. Actually, someone might have sent me a sample. I think it was Rising Mysore 2 or something, but I haven't done a video on it yet. So I'll prioritize that, Peter. Although I still have some prioritization of these to do. So I've only done 2 so far. So you know, I still have Gaia. I already did Anthea, which was my favorite. I still have Homme. I still have Dendra. I did one on Mirabai, which was good. It was a good vintage sandalwood. And Proxima. I still have Proxima. So I still have some work to do, Peter, before I prioritize Digit and Zach. I should probably knock out some Centauri fragrances, eh? I like your little pouch too, by the way. Very convenient. Hell yeah. Welcome to Europe, Jonathan. Good Life is probably the biggest unicorn letdown I've come across. It is 100%. I have a decant that Anuj sent me. I'll do a video on it. I agree with you 100%. It is. It's not worth the $300-400 it's going for right now. That's all nostalgia. That's the thing. I don't think Blue Beast needs to be more wearable. It's called. I agree. I agree with you. They took out the oregano note. They put in the rosemary note, which makes it more vintage masculine-ish. And they added a bunch of that black iris to make it smoother and rounder and not as, doesn't have that smoky. The Blue Beast always reminded me of what I would imagine being in like an opium tent was like in 100 years ago, The brand sent me some bottles to review, and I reviewed one. I'm thinking of passing it on to someone else. If you fancy a 30 ml, hell yeah, I'll send you. You still have my address, probably. I would love that. I would love that. I've never smelled that one. Emperor's Court. What'd you make of it? Can you sample Cardinal by Zoologist? Yes, I have I've got it here somewhere. Victor Wong sent me some of these. Yeah, there you go. Very first one. But I doubt it's going to be like Polo Green, dude. I seriously doubt that. I think that guy's probably smoking crack. I mean, just look at the note listing. Lemon, bergamot, mandarin, green leaves, rose, clary sage, leather, vanilla, oak moss, musk patchouli. There's no pine. There's no pine resin. There's no. How could it be like Polo Green? My guess is no. My guess is no. And it's a Rosendu Matu fragrance, and he never made those type of fragrances before. From my memory of the stuff he made. So I would be shocked if it was like Polo Green, but yes, I'll do it. Maybe I'll do it tonight. I don't know. We'll see. As you can see, I have a lot of samples to go through. So has anyone tried the 34th by Diptyque? It's also called L'Ode du 34 Trent Quatre. It has the white cap. I think it's been discontinued. Reminds me of modern day Devon. No, never smelled it. But if it's anything like Devon, just forget about that and get Eugene's Desandras, man, when it comes out on the 24th. It's a thought I've had recently. I need to factor in other nostalgia value when they wreck something. Yep. Guys, is Baby Cat worth the hype? Probably hell no. That whole YSL niche line is dross. Aljana. It's dross. The state of it is. I liked it. Very nice, clean, wearable oud mixed with florals and a quality ambergris note runs through the whole lot. I hear it's a good house. I've never smelled anything from them before, though. But if you send that to me before maybe that arrives, I'll try to do that early impression of Rising Mysore 2 or whichever one got sent to me. That way I at least kind of have an idea of what the house is all about. But I like exploring new houses, you know? I'm super curious about your thoughts on Cardinal, Matou's last frag before he passed. I know, kind of sad. Sad to see him go. He was one of the greats, probably one of the best Spanish perfumers of all time. And you know, he started his own house, and you know, I guess his son took that job over, from what I'm hearing. But what a career! What a career he had. It's not like Polo, but it's an interesting frag. Yeah, that's what I figured. I figured it would be something like that. Zoologist does interesting stuff normally. There's just so many to try. I mean, I can't believe how many frags they've put out. And I don't think they've really ever discontinued anything. Even when something had to get changed, like with that Rhino, they didn't discontinue it. They changed it, you know? So there's so many fragrances that they have. I wonder, at this rate, I mean, I wonder if Victor Wong is going to be able to keep all of the fragrances going. I mean, that can be a big chore once it bloats to that size, you know? You got 30, 40, 50, 60 different fragrances. It can be a lot to keep up with oil-wise and all this stuff. And keeping them all current and everything that you have to go through. So Polo Green, nice. There you go. Loc Scents, good to see you. Beautiful scent of the day. Cannot go wrong with the OG Polo Green. The best Carlos Benaim creation of all time by far. Although I really like music for a while, and I really like Dunhill's Icon. Believe it or not, it's one of my favorite, like, neroli-based scents. Yeah, I'm not ready to do a full review on it yet, but I like it. I don't know if I needed to buy that bottle. I may have prematurely jumped the gun buying the bottle, but I'm glad. The only one I don't have a full bottle of now is PDLN 2, and I don't think that's worth a full bottle. Afternoon, Micah. Ah, vintage opium, beautiful. Ganymede, nice. Thank you. I almost have all collection on Amouage women and men, and I don't like anything else. That's why if you like Amouage, like I did, because that's kind of how I started too. I bought nothing but Creeds and Amouage a decade ago. And if you're kind of in that boat, you have to go vintage. It's the only way to go. There's nothing modern, I think, that's really going to move you, or very little modern that's going to move you. You have to go vintage. I mean, it just is what it is. Go get vintage Rochas Femme. Go get vintage Mitsuko. Go get, you know, the old Guerlains. Go get, you know, opium and poison and stuff like that. That'll keep you interested if you're into the, you know, because Christopher Chong took a lot of chances. He was all about, his whole thing was he never wanted to make the same thing again. So like where the current guy, the fish guy, is living off of Christopher Chong's creations like a vampire, you know, making Epic 56 and Interlude 53. Chong never wanted to do that. He made something and then he moved on. He made something new and different and challenging. And I love that about him. And if you like that about Amouage, Aljona, you have to go vintage. It's the only place left where you know, the time, the materials, the way they built the fragrances still mattered. What do you think about Tom Ford's move of Greed, returning old vaulted fragrances? They're out of their damn mind, dude. 2K, yeah, I know. I saw that. They are straight lost their mind. Although it's not Tom Ford anymore. It's Estee Lauder. Estee Lauder paid over $2 billion. I think it was like $2.8 billion to buy Tom Ford. That's a lot of billions. That's almost triple what Creed sold for. And you know, they're gonna have to make that money up. They're gonna have to make it up, and they're gonna do it by increasing prices and decreasing the quality of the juice. Have you tried anything from Rose and Du Mathieu line? I have a sample of which one do I have a sample of? Yeah, this is Rose and Du Mathieu number 5, the one that gets hyped, and God, it's sweet. I'll tell you that. It is so sweet. I'll do a video. I'll do a video on it one day. I mean, I don't think it's as bad as some people make it out to be, but God, it's sweet. It is so sweet. And that's not a good sign for me. I don't like sweet. Dunhill Icon smells like grape seed oil to me. There is a grape. I get like a grape cola. I know what you mean. There is a grape vibe to it, but the value for money for a proper neroli scent like that, neroli usually is a very expensive ingredient. So to have something like that cheap, it's one of the reasons I held off on buying Terre d'Hermes for so long. And then, of course, I found that 500 ml Terre bottle that I could barely hold with my hand. So I'm happy to have that. Vintage Bijan, indeed, is my favorite from the house so far, and I own 8. Yeah, Overture is very good. I'd like to try the women one. Rich Mitch coming through with a like the stream. Appreciate the reminder, Rich. Modern Bijan, Christopher. I thought you were going to say Vintage Bijan. No, I'm not going to say it. I'm not going to say it. That's too mean. When I first saw that, maybe I will. When I first saw that, I saw Vintage Bijan, Schwarzenegger, Modern Bijan. I saw Christopher, and my brain just for some reason went Reeves, and I was like, oh God, that's so wrong. I'm not going to say that. I've been looking for an older Hypnotic Poison, sampled it recently. So good. Interesting. Yeah, it's 20-year anniversary just came, right? I wouldn't mind being $1 behind Tom Ford. No, man, he did very well for himself. I mean, who knows how happy he is with the passing of his significant other. And, you know, I mean, but that is a lot of money, just even when you factor in all the stuff that he had to pay to lawyers and, you know, making the deal happen and this here and that there. And let's say he walked away with $1 billion. I mean, or whatever it was, but shit. I mean, could you imagine just having $1 billion? Just go enjoy your life. Always listen to the duck, the wise and wonderful duck. The stream is licked. It is. It's a tasty stream. I make sure my streams are dipped and coated. Tasty streams indeed. A wise waterfowl once said, lick the stream. But they wouldn't have sold like billion of Amber Absolute 50 ml if it was decent, even in crazy prices. Plenty of people would pay 300. Yeah, I would. I mean, I don't think I would pay for a modern Amber Absolute because I don't trust them, and trust is an issue. You know, when people are talking about how woeful the Tuscan leather is and all that stuff, I don't think I would buy. I don't think I would. Just like I didn't go out and buy the new Bond number 9 New Harlem for $350. Even though I want a bottle of New Harlem, I want a vintage bottle because I don't trust the brand. The trust is an issue with these niche brands for me. The stream is richer when Rich is teacher and Ram, of course, both are vintage force. It's a good one, Dushan. I think tonight I'm going to layer Overture over some oud and see what happens. I'm sure it's going to be beautiful. That is one thing that I can agree with layering on. If you just have some pure oud and then you spray over it, that I can agree to that. Just put it at 250 ml only. Yeah, they're just fishing for money, dude. Okay, I'll take you up on that, Ali. Drop me an email. My email is in all of my videos. drop me an email, and I will. I'll send you my P.O. box. Number 4, Rachel's telling me to get on with it. Number 4 is a Dana, and it's actually the one that got mentioned earlier. It's the great Dana Tabu. Let me use my Eugene towel here, my microfiber, the great and wonderful Eugene's Les Abstraits microfiber. Ah, yes, here we go. Look at that. A beauty. Now, so if you flip it over to the back, you'll see it says, maybe you won't see, but it says Dana Perfumes Corp. So remember I said earlier that Dana was a zombie house, and it died, and then it got resurrected, and then it died, and then it got resurrected again. And the next resurrection after Dana Perfumes became New Dana Perfumes. And that's the one that you want to avoid, from what I hear. If you can find an older one that says Dana Perfumes Corp, that's what you want. Because this is an amazing. Rachel says she gave her modern Tabu away. It smells like root beer. This is an amazing Oriental. It's spicy. It's got depth. And this came out 1932. So this was only 7 years or so after Shalimar. And it's got the spices, orange, clove, beautiful flowers, beautiful amber and benzoin, and civet, vetiver, patchouli, musk. If you like what the trend ended up happening in the 1980s, so if you liked, seeing what happened when stuff like this became popular, Obsession for Men or women, I mean, they're both pretty much the same fragrance. If you like this, you could almost trace the roots back to what was happening at stuff like Tabu. It's really, really good. And it's something that not a lot of people talk about because the modern is shite, like someone mentioned. They didn't keep it in good shape because they were bought. They were kind of like a defunct house that got risen from the dead, and the guy who bought it thought he could make a living off of just the name of the fragrances. So they stopped caring about what was actually inside, which is a mortal sin for perfume lovers. But if you can find these older bottles, they are great. And sometimes you can find them for next to nothing, like I did. Oriental, spicy. It also has that clover note, which you'll find a couple decades later in Aramis. So there's some interesting, if you like, for example, that's why I say if you like where the 80s went with these Orientals, like KL, this is for women, or Obsession for men, or KL Homme, or this powdery Oriental vibe that came out in the 80s can be traced back directly to stuff like this. So this is a very influential fragrance, and I think it does have a powdery aspect to it, more so than something like Shalimar. That's why I say these powdery Orientals from the 80s that were so popular, I would say trace back closer to this than something like Shalimar. You know what I mean? They're all Orientals, but the powderiness here feels like the grandfather or grandmother of the 80s Orientals. So, all right, let's check the comments, and then we'll do number 3. Vintage Force Unite. That's right, Michael John. Unless they put it 250 for the reason it is bad. So you would find out only 2K bucks later. Yes, that's right. You're exactly right. That's one of the I mean, could you imagine dropping 2K and realizing they reformulated it? How pissed would you be at Estee Lauder? Try it with Cambodian and not Indian. It'll be beautiful. There you go. Ah, welcome, Interference. Yeah, smells like root beer. I have thought to some of the more chocolatey ouds that I have. Yeah. Figure out a root beer composition. Yeah, there's some root beer cola vibes in M7, I think. There's some root beer cola vibes in Escada Magnetism, I think. This has this purple root beer thing at the top. Ah, nice. Good stuff, Interference. Jonathan, if you like the animatics in the Cambodian, we'll bring it out. But if you want to round it off, then go with the chocolatey oud. Yep, there you go. It's exactly like root beer. Current Tabu. An Enigma opening as well. Yeah, I got more like cherry Pepsi and Enigma, but I love that cola opening. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna pretend I don't. I'm a sucker for that cola opening. You know, even Dunhill's Icon. Someone mentioned earlier they get grape oil, grapeseed oil. I get like grape soda from Dunhill's Icon sometimes. But I love these type of fragrances that have this grape opening. It's so good though, Jonathan. Man, I agree. I know exactly what you mean. It is outrageous. It is scandalous. It's outrageous, but I love it. It's like this and M7, I think borrowed from each other because this came out a couple years after M7, and they both have that cola vibe. Xerjoff's Dolce Amalfi. Never smelled it. Hate Xerjoff, but I'm willing to give it a chance. All right, cool. I will. Thanks. Was it what did you go by? Ollie. Thanks, Ollie. Appreciate that. I don't blame you, Jonathan. It's insane. Yep, Rachel had to go. She was trying to speed me up so we'd be done so she could cook dinner, but she had to run. I don't blame you. Family comes first, Rachel. Family comes first. Make sure that little one's well fed. Yeah. I think you could own them both, but you need to find a partial is what you need. Like you need to find half full or something like that, where you don't have to pay as much. Escada really effed up canceling all their masculines, you know. All right, let's do number 3. So this was mentioned earlier when I mentioned lavender with Zizanie, and I think Dev said it was going to be number 1. It ends up at number 3, and it is the great Caron Pour un Homme, which is probably the most well-known lavender scent of all time. This is the modern, which I hate. This is the vintage, which I love. If you're going to give Celine $300 for that fragrance that they made that smells like this, lavender and vanilla, please don't do that. Just go buy this bottle right here from Le Parfum or something. This one, the one that looks like this. This is an amazing vanilla lavender, and I think this is an 80s bottle, and I think they put a little bit of animalics in here. It's my guess is that they did a little something to make it compete with the animalics of the 80s, because this modern one, which the brand claims is just like the original one, which who knows if that's true or not, but it smells so plasticky. It smells so fake. It smells so plasticky. It's like smelling a plastic, incarnation of lavender. Whereas here, the lavender feels so natural. The animalics feel inviting. The vanilla is not plastically at all. I think this is one of the best just out and out lavenders. There's lavender absolute, lavender, vanilla, musk, and amber in here. So it's a simple scent, and most people think lavender is purple. It's not. It's actually green when you put it in a formula like this. Hence something like Eau Noir's green color. Beautiful. And someone said this should have made my fougere list. There's no tonka, there's no geranium, so it's not a proper fougere, but this would easily make very close to the top of my lavender. Just if I ever ranked my favorite lavender fragrances, this would have to be close to the top just because of how good it is. I mean, it's since 1934, going strong, you know. Coming up on its 90th year anniversary next year. And yes, this is very, very good. This is actually a 100 ml bottle, even though it doesn't look like it, it is. So pour un homme, very, very good. Speaking of magnetism, my friend's dad is parting with his collection, and he has magnetism that he's willing to part with. Should I go for it? For $75, abso-freaking-lutely, dude. If you won't take it, I will. I would take a partial at a decent price. Grape soda fizz from Icon. Yep. Has anyone tried English lavender by Atkinson's? Nope. The only Atkinson's I own is Rockford, which is okay, and Duke, which is awesome. This is their best fragrance to me. Have you smelled this one, Keith? Duke is a stunner. It's kind of like Boss Spirit meets Salvador by Salvador Dali meets Heritage. You know, it's kind of like that. It's right up my alley. 100% right up my alley. Look how happy this guy is. Look at him. He's like jumping around for joy. Duke by Atkinson's, my favorite. I've never smelled their English lavender. The black cap Caron is miles better. Miles, not even close. Not even in the same ballpark. And someone was trying to tell me, oh, Caron claims they haven't changed the formula in 100 years. I mean, maybe they brought this back to the formula of what it originally was in 1934. I don't know if that's true or not, but if they did, it was different here. And this, there's no doubt, this is different. This is completely different. Different formula, no doubt about it. I think they added animalics to this or something to make it better. I must buy magnetism and wear it at my job at an electric company. Too bad it's not electromagnetism. For all, you can just get a marker and just add, you know, where it says magnetism on the bottom, just add a little electro on it. You'll be good. But if you find a bottle for $75 and your friend's dad is selling off his collection and he doesn't want it, send me an email. I'll buy it. I'll send it to Jonathan or something. Versace blue jeans is a guilty pleasure with a cola vibe, especially the vintage. Really? I think Anuj sent me a sample of that, Pike. I'll have to do an early impression video on it. Have you smelled Jersey? Nope, never smelled Jersey. Andy Tower helped me put price in perspective. If LDDM can be 125 euros for 50 ml, produced in Switzerland, no Roja has any right to be over 200. I know what you mean, Palace. I know what you mean. Yeah. It's just, at this point, Roja's a Veblen good. You know what I mean? Sounds like a boss meeting. Tonight I'm testing vintage Rochas Macassar. What do you make of it? I love that stuff. It's the only thing that can compete with the, you know, just green, earthy, forest floor castoreum of Yatagan by Caron. Yatagan versus Macassar. They're like, you know, it's just Macassar's been gone for a long, long time. Hell yeah, I'll buy it. That's it. $75. Dude, literally, I've seen bottles of Escada go for $400 for this 100 ml. $400 for a just designer. They used to be on the $20 rack at TJ Maxx because no one wanted it, you know? Yeah, I heard that story too, Justin. If that's true, I'll just admit that I like the one with the animalics then, if that's the case. That's all. We got some Jersey fans. Silly. Yeah, insane. And what is Escada doing? Like, why don't they just put this back out and put it for $100? They have to be able to make money at $100. It's Escada, you know? They can't put, you're telling me they can't put this out for $100 at Escada or Escada pour homme? Dude, they sell their women flankers for like $25, you know? They're like the king of flankers. They can't sell Escada magnetism for 100. Put it out at 150. You would instantly be destroying all those people wanting 3, 4, 2, 3, 4, $500, you know? All right, let's do number 2. This is where it got hard. This is where it got really hard. Excuse me. Because, let me get some more Vasa. Because we have 2 of the greatest fragrances of all time left. And if you know the 1930s, you probably know what they are. So I had to make a very hard choice. And at number 2, we've got a Jean Patou. This fragrance came out dead smack in the heart of the Great Depression. And, you know, it's right at the time when people were losing their jobs, losing their cars, losing their house. I guess if you had a car back then, you were pretty rich. You got a Ford. And it's called Jean Patou's Joy. This is what the vintage Joy bottles look like. And they used to bring it, they would have somebody walk up to the, you know, houses of the rich folks, and this would be sitting on like a pillow, like one of those ring pillows at a wedding where you put the ring on. And, you know, it was, of course, originally in some sort of expensive crystal bottle. And it is one of the best floral animalic fragrances I've ever smelled. This is, Anuj found me this version, the little refill spray or whatever you want to call it. I've smelled them both. They're both amazing. I think this is probably much older. I think this is like 20, 22 years ago, maybe. And so it comes like this. And Joy, if you've ever smelled it, Joy basically reminds me, if you want a comparison, think Amouage Gold Man, but think Amouage Gold Man, but with even more texture. The baby powder note in Amouage Gold Man is a little bit more toned down here. There's also this fruity peach note. There's this old school vintage aldehydic, you know, Mitsuko peach note in here with the florals. But as far as like just picking out the rose, the tuberose, the ylang ylang, the jasmine, the lily of the valley, the orchid, more rose, I mean, it just seems so plush. And I love the way Persolaise describes Joy. He says it's like feeling a carpet on a brand new house where no one's walked on it yet. And you can just feel the texture go on and on and on and on. That's what it feels like when you're smelling these florals. They just go on and on and on. And I know exactly what he's talking about because it is beautiful. It's gorgeous. It's one of the best floral fragrances I've ever smelled, along with that vintage Arpege that I mentioned earlier, the Extrait from the 20s. And so this was very hard for me to put at number 2 because of just the quality of it. I mean, for the longest time, this was considered to be the most expensive fragrance out as far as like how much expensive ingredients went into each bottle. This was like considered the most expensive. And you know, it stood this way for a long time until there was a couple houses that kind of went back and forth, and then Jean Patou ended up putting out 1000 in the mid-70s. They ended up putting out 1000 to then reclaim the throne of the most expensive fragrance. I forget which fragrance came out that dethroned Joy as being the most expensive fragrance. I'll have to think about that. But yes, Joy is just if you, even if you're not a fan of florals, even if you hate tuberose and jasmine and rose and ylang and all that stuff, you still have to smell this just for you know, for mental, just bookmarking purposes. You know, it's Dunhill Burgundy. No, that's a tough one, Jonathan. Escada needs to put back out Pour Homme Parfum. I'd buy every single bottle, but leave you one. Thank you, Pike. Can't go wrong with that Caron Homme from the 80s. I was saying, but it's very, very good. Yep. Interference says, wasn't Magnetism a flop? I think it was. But now the game has changed now. That's the thing, you know? I think Escada fragrances would do well. Good morning, Gary. What was on the list so far? Okay, so we had Zizanie by Fragonard from 1932 at number 7. Elsa Schiaparelli from 1937 at number 6. Dunhill for Men from 1934 at number 5. Dana's Tabu at number 4, 1932. Caron Pour Homme, number 3, 1934. Jean Patou Joy, 1935. And that leaves one. That leaves one fragrance from the 30s. There's only one. Cut the damn seal, Pike. Live a little bit, damn it. What good is having a fragrance bottle that you've never smelled? Come on. Join, let me drop the link. Join on the live stream, break the damn seal on the live stream, and just ooh and ah so we can watch you smell it for the first time. I want a vintage of that Dunhill for Men. Joy was marketed to women. Oh, yeah, for sure. You want me to drop the link, Pike, so you can show everybody? That is crazy. 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 Hell, I break the seal as soon as I get it. There is no point in keeping it sealed. All right, let's do number 1, then we'll catch up on some comments. So number 1, I went back and forth because Joy had the strength of ingredients. It had the, you know, it had the most expensive ingredients in a bottle. It has that recognition of being one of the best floral fragrances of all time. But this fragrance for me, I think, is one of the most artistic fragrances of its day. You know, they didn't have GCMS machines back then. So for me, this creation just shows what a brilliant mind Jacques Guerlain has, because it came out in 1933, and this is an older bottle. Unfortunately, it's only a 30 ml, but it's still an older bottle with a 5-digit batch code. I really want to smell the Extrait. I've never smelled the Extrait, and it's called Vol de Nuit, Eau de Toilette. This is so amazing. It's spicy, it's woody, it's bergamot, galbanum, mandarin orange, orange blossom, lemon, aldehydes, iris, narcissus, vanilla, oak moss, spices, orris root, musk, and sandalwood. And Vol de Nuit literally translates to night flight. And it's kind of a tribute, if you will, to the homonymous novel published in 1931. And to its author, Antoine de Saint-Exupéry, who is said to have been a close friend of Jacques Guerlain. For the first time, a significant content of galbanum was used, okay? So for the first time, a significant content of galbanum was used. And then, of course, look who picked up the galbanum baton and ran with it. And Vol de Nuit is said to be the archetype for other classic fragrances like Miss Dior, Vent Vet, and Chanel No. 19, which also used considerable amounts of galbanum. It's not the only one. Thanks for the update, Rams. My Wi-Fi kept messing up. Absolutely. Looking forward to the bar mitzvah of this Jean Patou last time. That's right. It's time to grow up, Lasso. Patou pour homme. I'm fine with partial. It's just new old stock. I feel guilty with opening it. Listen, Pike, we're gonna have to have an intervention. I did that with my backup certain vintages, but I need to check quality. Yeah, I know what you mean. I mean, it's never been sprayed and it's a backup. I get it. That's different. But if you've never smelled the fragrance even, come on, man. I think you mean Brees. So what do you guys make? Top countdown of the 1930s. Are there any fragrances from the 30s you can think of that I left out? Number one, other than Vega, which I already mentioned, I wish I had. Or do you have anything else you want to talk about while you got me? Any topics you want to bring up? Novelle is small prince. Indeed, manly. Have you tried Eris Parfums? Never. Never. I really want to try MXXX that Rich Mitch keeps harping on how great it is. And it's an Antoine Lee. I love Antoine Lee, but I've never smelled it. And a real 100 ml bottle of Tom Ford Noir de Noir I bought from Bloomingdale's. The fake smells very close, but not 100%. I'm done with any sketchy sellers. Got to pay the price, I guess. Yeah, I mean, are you sure it's a fake? Because it could just be differences in the air getting in the bottles and stuff like that. Green Spell is nice. Never sniffed that one, Jonathan. I need to smell the X-Ray for sure. You have boutique? I do have a boutique. I've got an entire fragrance store. I could do like the perfume guy and charge like $800 an hour to come and sniff anything you want. I recommend smelling Eris Scorpio Rising as well. That one in MX. Yeah, Scorpio Rising is his newest one, right? Luckily, my Metallica doesn't have a seal, or I would have been the same with that one. Never worn it, though. You've never worn it? Dude, we're going to have an intervention for you. Wear that shit tomorrow, Pike. You ain't getting any younger, and the perfume is just sitting there waiting on you to wear it. I mean, what are you going to do? Save it to your 90 and pass it on once you die? I mean, wear the damn thing, or give it to me. I'll wear it. I'll buy it from you if you're not going to wear it. I need a bottle of Metallica, and I'm not paying the $2,000 that it is on eBay. Do gazillionaires really visit Sebastian for sniff tests? They do. They do. He's got a whole like setup, like a whole side hustle, you know, $800 an hour to smell whatever you want or whatever it is. I don't know, $400 an hour or whatever. But yes, insane, right? Do you have any L'Envol Mycin? I think that's the 20s, Rachel. I think Mycin is the 20s. Yep, 24. Box is wrong texture, tiny differences, also obvious fake using a gram scale. Interesting. It is brilliant. I want a bottle of that so bad. How much cheaper you think Roger fragrance would cost if he would be named Roger? He is named Roger. It's Roger Bird, not Roja Dove. But fragrances are, I feel like fragrances do have this bit of, you know, mythical make-believe to them, and he played on that. You know, he played on people's desires to have a piece of that glitzy, glamorous, you know, every time you see him, there's this, you know, every time you see him, he's surrounded by these like shiny caps and chandeliers, and he's in his $2,000 Louboutin slippers, and he's got the, you know, velvet purple jacket, and he's surrounded by beautiful artwork, and he has that fancy Englishman accent, you know, and it's part of it is selling the dream more than just the juice even, you know, it's selling something to aspire to. To be fair, though, Diaghilev is stunning. But I really do feel like it's, you know, they just, everything that they did with this bottle just screams, you know, flex. It just screams, I've made it, you know, I'm part of the elite now. And he benefited off of that. He found himself a little niche, and to be fair, of all of the harsh things I say about Roja, and I do give them some shit because they deserve it, but of all the harsh things I say, one thing I'll never say is he's not a great marketer. He is a fantastic marketer. He's a great politician, and he sticks to his lines. You know, he doesn't mess up. He doesn't go off course. Like me, I just ramble. And he sticks to the lines. And if you notice, if you ever watch an interview of him, then you watch another interview with him, then you watch another interview with him, you'll notice this guy's just saying the same thing. Well, when I was 7, my mother came down and gave me a kiss on the cheek, and I remember her smell, and it, you know, and it's the same stories over and over and over and over and over and over and over. And you know, it's and it works. He obviously he knows what people want to hear, and he just keeps saying it over and over and over so more people can hear it. And, you know, good on him. His prices are outrageous, but people obviously pay it, you know. Dinner is served. Rachel has 15 minutes. Plus, under the spray cap, Tom Ford is all plastic, and the fake one that I open has a metal ring inside. Interesting. Thanks, Jonathan. Diaghilev by Roger. Yes, that's right. Roger Dove, a man that makes soaps. He is a character playing a character. Yeah, I mean, it's the whole Roja Dove thing is like it's almost like it's something that he aspires to be. You know what I mean? It's like a it is like a character. I think it's something that you can see, to be fair, you can see he does love perfume, and he loves the oldies, and he knows his fragrance. Like, I would love to sit down with him with no cameras and just talk perfume. Like, that would be awesome. We could talk perfume for 5 hours. But in front of the camera, he's worried about his image. He's worried about he gets into the salesman mode. He's like the ABCs, always be closing, you know. He's like the ABCs of selling. He's always in, it's always turned on when the camera's on. He can never just kind of take a back seat and just, you know, just kind of let himself be who he is when the cameras are on, is what it feels like to me. And so yes, I mean, I think it would be great to sit down and chat perfume with him, but the cameras would have to be off. He'd never be able to be himself, I feel like. So I would not be surprised, Palace. That's a great shout. It's a great, great shout. Because there are some people like Sylvain Delacourt says that he is not a perfumer. That's what they say. I don't know if it's true or not. And, you know, some people get so, I mean, I've never seen it. I've never seen a group of people get so butthurt over the fact that you could say maybe he's not the perfumer. You know, it's like you're calling out their mother, you know? Like, one guy was like, oh, you're one of those people, eh? Oh, you're one of those who think he's not the perfumer, huh? I'm like, I don't know. It just seems like if Sylvain Delacourt, who, you know, was at Guerlain when Roja was at Guerlain, says he was never a perfumer, what happened? He just woke up one day and knew how to be a perfumer? Most perfumers have to be chemists. You can't just wake up and go, oh, I want to be a perfumer today. You have to know your shit, you know? That's one thing that someone like Dominique Ropion is a chemist. He has that chemistry background, so he knows what happens when you mix X, Y, and Z. And you know, it's just it's just interesting to see. And you know, but I think obviously when you look at what happened with Creed and Creed saying they were perfumers, and then you look at what happened with Roja and Roja saying he's a perfumer, which who knows if one is or isn't. I don't know. Don't sue me. All I know is that it's interesting that both high-end brands went to that model, because it's almost like the public wants to believe that the face of the brand is also the one back there in the lab mixing everything together for some reason. Like it adds this, you know, down home, ma and pa, it's so small, I'm in there doing it myself vibe, you know? It adds that to the brand for some reason, and it seems to work with both of them. Did brilliantly as far as sales go. I mean, Creed ran off with $1 billion fucking dollars. Do you have $1 billion? Because I don't. He ran off with $1 billion, and who knows how much Roja would be worth if he sold, or if it, you know, if it is already sold, who knows? But you know, both brands, as far as sales go, did brilliantly. So yeah, there you go. That see, but I wish there would be more. If that is the case, okay, if that's the case, it would be great for him to say, I'm a creative director. Okay. I help the perfumers, like Frederick Maul, you know, a perfume editor or whatever the hell you want to call yourself. But don't go in there and claim you're something you're not, and then when it comes out later on, it I mean, people feed off of that. They sense it, you know. So if you paid $2K for 100 mil, you will be butthurt. You just have to. Yeah, I like the old presentation too, with the clear little cap and the paper label. But honestly, I like the new presentation as well. I don't hate this. I think it was different enough, and it fits the vibe of the brand. Now they've taken this gold Roja Parfums off the side apparently, but it does add that ALD Bortnikov. We love the quality. We also love to see the perfumer speak of his work. Yeah, exactly. That's right. They are they're in for a deep awakening if they arrest me. They're setting off a revolution. Okay, you can't arrest me. I'll be a martyr. So yes, that's kind of the Roja business. But will there be a Ghost Perfumer Part 2? Who knows? Who knows? But would anyone be surprised if there was a Ghost Perfumer Part 2? Or let me ask you this. Would it change the way that you saw this? Would it change the way that you saw Diaghilev, for example? If there was a ghost perfumer came out and said, I actually made that, but I signed a non-disclosure agreement, so I couldn't say anything, but I was actually the perfumer of that. Would it change the way that did it change the way you thought of Aventus when you found out that it was Jean Louis, what was his name? Jean-Christophe Herault. Did it change the way you thought of Aventus when you found out Jean-Christophe Herault created it? When in 2010 everyone thought it was Olivier Creed, you know? So that's kind of an interesting little topic. Yeah, exactly. Actually, there were a couple perfumes that I discovered, you know, were linked to the guy that made Aventus. I really like Aventus. I'm not one of the Aventus haters. I like it. And he did one for Dolce & Gabbana called Dolce & Gabbana The One Mysterious Night. And it's a really good rose fragrance, targeted to the Middle Eastern market. But yeah, it's and you know what's so tough? You know what's so hard about that is let's say some perfumer that you never knew about, like Jean-Christophe Homme, who made Aventus. That was in 2010. We just found out a couple years ago, almost a decade later, or a year ago, or whatever it was. So for a decade, his career was kind of like whatever, floundering. No one really knew. He did some things, but no one really knew what else he did. And imagine what his career path would have been if that information was allowed to be released in 2010 when the fragrance kind of took off. How different would his career path have been? So some of these brands that are doing this to these perfumers, they're also kind of pressing down their career. You know what I mean? Like they need to spread their wings and get their name out there and grow. And these kind of brands are like pushing them down, going, "Nope, you're in the limelight of Olivier Creed," you know? And it's tough for an up and coming perfumer, you know? So I get it. It would add a layer of appreciation to the fragrance. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. I mean, entire careers are stifled. There was actually a guy who made a Creed fragrance, and they talk about it in the book, The Ghost Perfumer. He actually made one of my favorites. It was called Acier Aluminum, and it's kind of like this masculine oriental fragrance that they made in the 70s. And 30 years later, almost no one except for a couple insiders know who really made it. His career never took off. What if it came out in the 70s that he made that and, you know, it kind of jump-started his career? Instead, he was kept in obscurity because he signed that non-disclosure agreement, and Olivier Creed just like barged into his office one day, smelled some stuff, and went, "Hey, I like this. I'll give you 50 grand for it, but you can't tell anyone who made it." And he's, you know, let's say he's a young kid. He's hurting for money. Some guy goes in, throws some money around up front, but how much more would he have made down the road, you know? It's kind of shady is what I'm saying. It's kind of a shady practice. But I think the perfume industry in general has some shady, dark things that kind of underlie this shiny, glitzy, glamorous, you know, everything is glitzy and fashiony, and underneath it all, there's a darker side to it. Like, for example, that Montal guy, I forget his name. He apparently went to jail for copying some other fragrance of somebody else. Like literally, they got sued for copyright infringement or something, which is almost impossible to do on a fragrance because all you have to do is like change one little thing and it becomes a different fragrance. But they like verbatim copied something. He got sued, taken to jail, like screwed his business partner out of half of the business. And I think whatever his name is, I forget what he goes by now, but what is his name? His name is, I can't think of his name. Pierre Montal. He goes by Pierre Montal. That's not his name. That's a pseudonym that he came up with after he got sued. He didn't want to use the name that was kind of dragged through the mud, so they came up with something else, apparently. That's what they said in the book, The Ghost Perfumer. So there's all kind of these, like, you know, there's these weird little things that go on in the fragrance world under the surface that I think people know about and that are in the industry, but most people don't. Sounds depressing indeed. It's bad because it's robbing perfumers of other work because they're getting the hype about their abilities and, again, much more work. Yeah, that's it. That's especially for like an up-and-coming perfumer. I mean, they wouldn't do that to Jean-Claude Elena or Pierre Bourdon because they've already made it. They can't do that to them. I mean, if Jean-Claude Elena made something that he knew was a masterpiece and Olivier Creed said, "I'll give you 50 grand for it," he'd be like, "Fuck off," you know? But when you're up and coming and starting and you need the money and times are tough, you know, I could see how you would make a bad deal like that without thinking of the long term. But yeah, that would be interesting to see. I was thinking the exact same thing because Pure Distance M, and Roja's Fetiche are so close, you know? If there is a ghost perfumer, I would love to know who it is. It has to be the same person, right? I think it's Antoine Lee, since he did some of the other Pure Distances. How crazy would that be if Antoine Lee did this? It wouldn't surprise me, because it does, you know, it does have that vintage Bel Ami throwback thing. And I've said already with Eugene's fragrances that Antoine Lee likes throwing little nods and homages to the past. So it wouldn't surprise me at all if he did Pure Distance M and Fetiche. What a shock that would be. That would catapult him up the ranks, right? As far as like where you think of the best perfumers of all time. Well, duh. Obviously, he's the perfumer. But if there was a ghost perfumer situation, don't sue me, Roja. I'm on your side here. You got the 500 ml tear. Did you get it for $300 like I did, Michael? Did you get it for $300 bucks? Because I looked on eBay the other day, and now they're like $450 minimum. I think we got the last couple at $300. Good move, moving fast on that one, by the way. UPS man delivering on Martin Luther King Day. Holy shite. Putting them to work for real. That's good stuff. Well, there's 47 people in the stream, so I hate to end it on this many people still hanging out with me, but usually 2 hours and a half is where my... Yes, that's right. You did not mess around, did you? Good move, not waiting. Usually 2.5 hours is where my voice starts to give out. I was going to see if Rich Mitch wanted to come on or something, but he's probably tired. It's probably late there. So maybe we'll do like a joint stream one day soon. But I appreciate you guys watching my 1930s ranked video. So now we're on to the 40s next, and maybe a couple of ranked perfumers portfolio and stuff like that. So I'll keep doing them in live stream format. I'll keep doing them in live stream format if you guys enjoy this, rather than just you know, clicking play and then uploading a video, so I can be interactive with you guys. It does make the videos longer. That guy that wants my videos to be shorter is going to have a conniption when I keep uploading 3 hour streams instead of 1 hour, you know, lists. But that's okay. If you guys enjoy it, I'm happy. You know, there's a good amount of people watching. It's funny because some of the channels that I see, they have 40, 50,000 subscribers. They get 100 people in their live stream. So the amount of people that actually watch is it's pretty impressive. So you guys are happy, I'm happy. That's the biggest thing. So I hope you guys enjoyed this one. Thanks for watching. I probably won't be able to do any live streams for a little bit, just because work starts tomorrow, unfortunately. But I'll keep uploading. I'll try to do one tonight. Maybe I'll do Cardinal tonight for you guys. So appreciate everyone watching. Cheers, guys. And we'll catch you again next time. Bye-bye.